everybody. Happy summer. Okay, we're going to call our meeting to order. We'll take roll call here real quick. Trustee Coleman and Trustee Constant are absent. Trustee Schutz.
Here. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I went in the wrong order.
We have had a little break.
It's been a
I'm here,
yes.
Schutz is here.
Schutz is here. Marla France, are you here?
I'm here.
Trustee Hall is here. Do we have a motion to amend or adopt the agenda?
I will make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, is anyone here for public comment on closed session items?
Mr. Hayes.
No.
Seeing none, we are going to adjourn to closed session. Going, all right, I'm going to call us back to order for open session, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So quick report of action from closed session. Board approved item 2.1 with a 3-0 vote. And then no board action was taken on item 2.2 or items 2.3. And moving on to our meeting protocols. The Board of Trustees encourages public participation during the meeting and requests civility and the use of courteous language. The board does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats directed at any meeting participant and/or district employee. There will be an opportunity to speak to the Board of Trustees on items not on the agenda during the public comment section, as well as opportunities to speak to each item on the agenda when that item comes up for consideration. If we have less than 10 members wishing to speak, you will get 3 minutes. If there are 10 or more members, your time will be 90 seconds. Any complaints about specific employees of the district should be made to that employee's immediate supervisor or the school site principal as outlined in our board policy. And if you would wish to speak, please fill out the comment card form located on the table in the lobby, and I will call you when it's your turn to speak. And this meeting is being audio and video recorded and will be archived. All right, next up are board expectations, item 4.1. Trustee Schutz is going to read those for us tonight.
Yes, good evening. Board expectations: prepare all students for life, college, and career. High quality academic opportunities for all students. Support students' academic success. Engage in partnership with families in the community. Bullets on that is the school is a welcoming, safe environment that serves as a center of student learning activities, athletics, and performing arts, and promote a sense of community in our schools and the surrounding areas. Last one, utilize effective governance and business practices. To do that, we want to remain open, transparent, and accountable to the community, serve as an employer of choice with the highest quality of teachers and staff.
All right, thank you. And any board reports?
We'll pass tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not, obviously been on break, so not a lot going on, but I'm glad. So I'm hearing a lot of people got to take some time off, so that's important. Recharge. So school starts August 7th, is that right? So we're back at it again. But other than that, welcome everybody.
All right, thank you. Yes, welcome back. I got the water polo email the other day from the coach that school starts August 7th. I was like, wait a minute, isn't that like 3 weeks away? But we're not going to talk about that. What did happen is summer school graduation, and so that was really nice. That was on July 3rd. I was impressed to see so many families show up the day before holiday. We have this beautiful space to use for our summer school graduates. So that was very exciting and nice to see that those students crossed the finish line. So we had a fun little celebration in here for them. And other than that, haven't been doing too much either. Just enjoying summer. So we'll move on to 4.3, superintendent's report or communications received.
Yeah, not a lot to report, just besides welcome back, and it's amazing how fast those 6 weeks go. But I just wanted Joe to quickly share, obviously there's been a lot of stuff with budgets and federal funds and grants being cut and all that stuff. I just wanted Joe to be able to share briefly what that looks like here for RJUHSD.
Yeah, so one thing that's good about our district is we didn't rely too heavily on the federal grants that are being affected. The main parts that are impacted are our adult education program, where we have a pretty large grant that's funded through the federal government. So it's kind of the state is suing the federal government, so we're kind of in wait and see mode. But we were lucky that over the last few years that we've received additional adult education funds through the consortium. So it gives us a little bit of time to wait and see what happens. Ultimately, if these cuts come to play, then we would have an impact to our adult ed program. We'd have to figure out how to adjust to that. There are 2 other grants and ed services that are impacted that are not as large. One, probably the largest one is Title II, which is a professional development grant. And so we're even beginning conversations about how that might potentially impact us. So these dollar amounts are not large. With some other districts, if you go to, especially inner city schools, may be much more impacted and are hurting, especially with the big drop off in funding right away. So we're just going to continue to monitor it, but right now it's not a dramatic impact to our district.
All right, and item 4.4, committee reports. I don't believe any committees have met. So we will move to our RSCA report, item 4.5, Mr. Delorto.
Like everybody else, I guess, will be relatively short and sweet because it's been vacation time, so that's been nice. In light of Joe saying that we're going to be fine, we're going to ask for a lot more money this year. Anyways, I just wanted, in our process of introducing kind of the way I do what I do, and I think Brad and Joe and a bunch of the people who've been around for a while, my notes I share with the teachers, but I also share with cabinet, and I'll share with you guys also in the process. But they do come with a caveat that in my transcribing the notes, I've noticed over my time doing this off and on since 2000, that if they're for teachers really boring, that no one reads them. So I sneak a little bit of humor in there just to let you know it's all tongue-in-cheek and designed to be that way. It's never really at anybody, but it's the result of a kid that was born in the age of Monty Python and Saturday Night Live and no video type stuff. So every once in a while you'll see something that if you ever have a problem with it, just email me back and we'll talk or whatever. But it's never really designed to do anything other than just get people to read the notes so they understand what's happening at these board meetings. So you'll see that every once in a while here pretty soon. So that's all the report right now.
I like that. My middle son was the one-armed knight.
Yep.
With the one flesh wound. So I get your humor. All right, item 5, public comment. Do we have any public comment cards that came in? Anybody here wishing to speak on something not on the agenda? No. Okay, that is a summer meeting for you, I guess. 6, the consent agenda. Any questions or comments or anything anybody wants to pull? No? All right, do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And I'll second.
All right, motion and a second, and we'll do a roll call vote. Trustee Schutz.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye.
Trustee Hall. Yes. So 3-0 to approve the consent agenda. All right, I gotta scroll here real quick. All right, on to our action items. We have 7.1, our electric buses and chargers purchased through grant funds. And Mr. Landman.
Yes, this is an exciting one for me. I'm excited that we have the opportunity to purchase 5 new EV buses as well as 5 charging stations. The great thing about this is it's fully funded out of the grant. In the past, we've had some good grants that gave us 80%, 90%, 75% funding of the buses. Not only does this give us 100% funding, but also provides the funding for the infrastructure, so like the charging stations. And so we've actually noticed a need for some faster chargers to help. There's times where in an emergency, we need to get one charge much, so a few of these are super fast, and the rest of them are faster than the other ones we have. And so, looking forward to that, and it's still going to be about 50% of our fleet's electric, and about 50% is still the classic diesel. And so for the most part, home to school, we can use the electric buses for all day. It's just the longer field trips that we still need to maintain the diesel fuel fleet. So this will be the brand new buses, which will be able to replace some of our old buses, which is great. And there's a whole lot less maintenance and a lot less to work on. So it's about $2 million worth of buses and chargers that we're getting for free. So it's exciting. So staff recommends approval of these purchases.
Any questions?
No, I think it's great though. Free is always good, and saving, fuel costs and things like that associated with it. I know coming from Dry Creek School District, we had a big electric fleet, and it saved the district a lot of money in the long run. I don't have any other discussion unless there's some other. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of 5 EV buses and approve the purchase of 5 charging stations for the EV vehicles for item 7.1.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 3-0. Moving on to 7.2, a second reading of our core IB textbooks.
Hi, good evening. Tonight I'm reading for the second reading of our 2 IB courses, Visual Arts and Computer Science. You may remember in the first reading, we opened up for public viewing, displayed the books digitally. We did not receive any input or feedback on the books. However, the course and teacher are both recommending that we adopt these 2 textbooks to align with the updates on those courses.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions on those?
I'll make a motion to approve the,
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second to approve item 7.2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 3-0. And then are you here for 7.3 also?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, so with the approval of those 2 new textbooks, there's also an update and revision in the 2 courses themselves. So you'll see the updated course outlines to align with the revisions of the course. And then the new textbook is also listed as the core adopted material.
I'll make a motion to approve 7.3.
I'll second.
All right, a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Motion carries 3-0. And we are moving right along to item 8.1, our John Adams Academy annual report.
Hello. Of course, I left my business on. Now it's on. I left my little cheat sheet in the printer. But I'm Lisa. I'm the representative liaison to our charter schools and the adult education principal. I'm here to introduce John Adams Academy, giving their annual update. And with me is Troy Henke, the superintendent of John Adams Academy. And I'll let him introduce his teammate to give the presentation. Thanks.
Thank you. We're happy to be here. Thank you. It's almost like you had a meeting just for us. Oh, well, I hope you all had a good summer and are ready back. My name is Troy Henke, and I've been with the Academy for 8 years now, and I have a little over 23 years administrator experience in other places, but I've been for 8 years at John Adams Academy. This is my partner and colleague, Danielle Bull. She's the principal of our elementary school here in Roseville, and she'll be presenting as well on the elementary program on the, later on in the program. I brought you all a little packet, and if you don't have one or would like one, I can get you one. I'll leave you mine as well. I've got a couple here. Just to introduce you a little bit to our school. We are passionate about what we do as a charter school. We're hyper-focused on just our specialty, which for us is restoring America's heritage and developing servant leaders. And we do this within a culture of what we call 10 core values. The 10 core values are a few places, but I know in this pamphlet it's right in the middle. These 10 core values, when we survey our parents, it's the single biggest draw we have for people that are seeking out our school. Well over 90% of the parents say I came because I saw the 10 core values, and that's where I wanted my children to be. So that's our biggest draw. We're not perfect, but we do our best, and we try and we live and abide by the 10 core values as best we can. This document in there is it's really the preface to a larger document that outlines our curriculum as a program. The section after this follows our pedagogical methods. It also involves culture. I didn't bring you those pieces, but those will be posted on the website soon. But we did want to give you the introduction. This is basically our philosophical statement. Within this, there is a model. It's a diagram, which I should have put on the slides. I love it. If we were to summarize what is our academic model in a nutshell, this is it. You'll see that it's built on 4 pillars. The 2 central pillars are classics. We study a lot of classics in all fields: mathematics, science, literature, history, and liberal arts. Liberal arts are skills: reading, writing, calculating, speaking skills. And these are the 2 side supports are supported by our 10 core values, and we strive to develop a culture of mentoring, so that when scholars need some attention, we mentor them. When all of our personality attention, we mentor them, and we seek a culture of mentoring and growth. And so that's our academic model. We have liberty at our base, meaning we're helping our scholars make good choices, and our invitation is to be a servant leader, which means serve the community at where you want to serve and what you're good at. And it doesn't matter what it is as long as you're serving the community. This servant leadership, we encourage our scholars, like we use the term scholars for our students, to seek virtue, wisdom, and truth. And so that's, in a nutshell, our entire academic program, TK through 12. And I'm definitely open to questions along the way, so please feel free to ask, but we can also answer questions after. All right, I'll go to the slideshow. A lot of these, so this is the leadership structure of John Adams Academies Incorporated. We're structured a little different than you'd see in a district. We have the center column there is our board members, with Dr. Dean Foreman, former trustee of Roseville Joint Union High School District, and currently the chairman on our board. On the left side there, you see that Joseph Benson's our executive director. He fulfills the role of what you would see traditionally as a superintendent. He is the CEO for the board, but he also handles all the back office, financial, legal. I, as a superintendent, head up the academic program and work with the principals directly. And then we have others to help. You see there's the elementary leadership and our secondary leadership, which we'll get a chance to look at that in a little bit. Enrollment. We ended the year enrollment with 1643 at our Roseville campus. The mix up there is 964, 679. We also outlined the last few years' growth, so you can see that we've grown. Thank you. We've grown just a little bit each year from 2020, we're at 1360 up, 16, anyway, you can see up to 1643 now. We basically reached our cap at our school. Our buildings are at their max, and so we don't see us growing much beyond that at all. Yeah.
Can I ask what your wait list is?
Yes.
What's your wait list?
As of about 2 hours ago, it was 2172. So we have a big wait list. And I did not bring the demographics here. Most of our scholars are from Roseville, but we also attract scholars all the way down the I-80 corridor clear to Sacramento and coming down from north of Auburn. So we do tend to attract families from the area. However, most are from Roseville City. So thank you. We're excited to report CD rated us high performing. This is our second year in a row. Once they started rating charter schools, that puts us in the top 20% of the state, and we are happy about that. That will be important for us when it comes time to renew our charter, so we're excited to report that. As far as special ed, I have some data up here, but we offer a full range of services, including an SDC on campus, and we provide all system supports that we can for all scholars. The next slide is our ELL scholars. We have 178 English language learners, and we have the breakdown between our elementary and secondary. Language is represented on the bottom right corner. You'll see, I'm sure this is probably reflective of what you see in your district, is my guess, right here, especially probably at the Roosevelt High School. By far, our number one language speaking is Russian Ukrainian. At about, from last time I looked, about 11% of our student body is speaking Russian or Ukrainian as a primary language. There was a question I just got from Lisa about the makeup of our student population. Who asked that question? And I'd love to dive in a little bit.
About the
Section B.
demographics? You're talking about
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
I guess there was a question about item G in our charter, basically looking at, do our demographics match the Roseville demographics, basically. Is this ringing a bell? Maybe it came from...
Well, it actually came from me.
Oh, very good.
Because you have an element in your charter, you have to describe how you're the means to achieve a balance that's reflective of the district. And when you were authorized, that was racial and ethnic balance, but it's been expanded, special ed, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and that kind of thing. And just kind of reviewing the DataQuest data on CD's website, your percentages and some of the demographics have been about the same since you were authorized. So I guess and not necessarily reflective of the district's demographics, which are very diverse. And given that I assume a lot of your students would otherwise be attending Roosevelt Joint Union High School District schools. So I guess my question was, and the data's there on the DataQuest CD's website, kind of what efforts are you implementing was one of my questions to achieve that balance that's reflective of the district.
That's a good question. We strive, first of all, we have an open door, and because we choose by lottery, where we can make a difference is actually in our promotions and in our literature. Most of the families that come to our school come by word of mouth. I believe that's why we have such a high percentage of Ukrainian families. And I don't know what the district's demographic is in Ukrainian Russian speakers. Are you looking at 10% as well, or is that? I'm curious, I just haven't looked.
We don't have the state data disaggregated by Ukrainian per se.
Got you, okay.
It's
That
all,
makes sense.
our Eastern European population is also categorized under our white student group.
Okay. And so we basically will publish generally in English. We also have publications go out or ads in Russian because we know that is our population. When beyond that much, we just welcome every family and on the waiting list, we pull their name and admit them to the school. So
I would be curious about any data on your socioeconomically disadvantaged students and what those percentages look like.
love to. We're writing about 33%.
I'm sorry?
I think it was in some of your slides.
yeah.
I don't know if your slides, I think
Okay,
you got, I
very
think you
good.
have that information there.
Very good. And I'd be happy to give you up-to-date information too, so thank you. Attendance, we were, last year ended at 94%. I'm not happy about that. And so I know all our schools have goals to increase attendance. And there's some supports we have in place there. Some of our discipline data, we had 32 suspensions last year, and then 2 years ago, last year we had 39. We had 1 expulsion this last school year. We follow our discipline policy as found in our charter, and our expulsion policy is found in our charter. And part of that is it's a very similar process to what you would use in the district, where there's an expulsion panel hearing, a recommendation is made to the board, and the board would approve or deny that expulsion process. I've met with actually a few years ago. We haven't had an expulsion in so long. We did have one this year. I think it caught everyone by surprise. But I don't know if they're a few years ago, and we have an agreement that if we ever expel, I immediately contact PCOE so that they can be aware of it and be able to communicate to other schools regarding the scholar. We also reach out and contact other schools. The next slide, we offer multi-tier behavior intervention support and a full range of counseling services with 3 full-time counselors. And we've got some statistics there for you to see. Part of our counseling services is we of course participate in PSAT. We have a college fair, career fair, and we take our seniors, some of our juniors on college field trips. And all of this is in preparation to help our scholars graduate and go to college. As far as our facilities, we have 6 buildings, 147,000 square feet. We've grown over the years. Again, we've reached capacity, and we don't expect much growth at our Roosevelt campus moving forward. I forgot to check how many graduates. There was just 49 graduates. I have to count 49 graduates. Some of our unique graduation requirements are all of our scholars must write a thesis and defend it. They perform a senior project, and they also give everyone a farewell oration where they can leave their words of wisdom to their younger scholars, younger students on their way to bigger things. Also, some of our unique requirements is we start teaching Latin in elementary. It's a required 7th, 8th grade. They can continue that in high school, and we offer a political philosophy course. If you count the total, if political philosophy is counted as a social studies class, we have basically 6 years worth of humanities in a 4-year period. They're doubling up in their junior year, senior year. That's really foundational to our program, study of history and political philosophy. Some data on our graduates. We've had our scholars graduate and matriculate to schools across the nation. And this year, we've had some success in athletics, our first section title, and our first NCAA full rate scholarship for a young lady competing in the triathlon this year. So we're proud of all of our scholars. We also received academic championship for boys basketball, golf, boys soccer, tennis, boys volleyball, and we're happy about that. I'm not happy about our math scores this last year. You can see we had growth in 23-24. We had decline in 24-25. That's this current year. And that is true in both our reading and math scores. I will acknowledge that this year our secondary program between June and January had 3 principals, and we had some transition happening. Our current principal there is Norman Gonzalez. If you've been in the district long, you probably know him. He's been at the school for over 12 years, and has brought a lot of stability and vision back to our secondary program, and we expect to see good things from that.
Good evening. I hope that you also had, I know summer is winding up, but you had some time to rest. Culture is a real big part of John Meadows Academy, and whether it's the Virtues Choir or time with older and younger scholars being together, a career fair, we really spend a lot of time together, and you'll see that in those slides. We also have, like Dr. Hickey said, we focus on the classics, and we have a special day where the scholars and faculty dress up in classics, whether it be Peter Pan for the admin. We had our cafeteria staff dress up as Charlotte's Web, and then all the scholars enjoyed that as well, and that was a blessing to have. We also have special awards every year to honor excellence and high moral values that go along with our Chandler values, and so this is a little bit of a demonstration of that for Ms. Smith and Mrs. Mitchell, who received those foreman awards this year. In addition, we celebrate a lot of things together. We spend time together with buddy classes, so upper and lower grades, spending time together reading, serving, and things like that. We also celebrate Veterans Day, in which this is an example of the secondary leaving the elementary school during that time. We also have skate nights and other fun times together. Revolution Run is a time where we not only spend time together, but we also raise money for our school. This is a little video on Latin. I'm not sure if is it gonna play? Do you know how to make it?
No, there was no video embedded. It was shared as a PDF, so there's no video.
Okay.
That's just a
so
photo.
This is our first grade class singing a Latin song as they're learning. It's Duke, it's row, row, row your boat. So they're getting exposed to that in a way where they can understand. And so that's a beautiful thing. And we're trying to, as Dr. Hickey said, start them off with Latin young. And then as they go into the middle school, they learn it in a more formal way. Our iReady scores for reading have increased, which was great. Our teachers have been spending time with trainings at PCOE to make sure that we're on point with our CASPs and being able to lead scholars in that area to grow. We've implemented core knowledge, science and history, and logic English, which is a highly saturated, highly phonics saturated curriculum to help our scholars read. We also want to, part of our core values is academic excellence. We want to recognize that. And so we have been doing spelling bees and poetry competitions and geography bees, and really been able to nourish the scholars as they grow. And grow is really the factor that we're trying to help them do as they reach that excellence. We also focus, of course, on service, because that's part of our mission and vision. Our iReady scores for reading have increased, specifically first grade in the lower right-hand corner for last year showed the greatest growth, but everyone did grow, which of course is our model. The same goes for math. For our iReady, our third grade really is the one that excelled the most. We have 4 sections in every grade level, and one of the teachers you saw getting the award for excellence is a third grade teacher, and is part of the reason for that growth as well. As we move forward, we're looking forward to investing and inspiring the scholars so that we can continue to be a high-performing school. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Oh.
Yeah, there's like we love Roseville. We love being a part of the district, and I know our charter expires in June of 2027. We are interested in pursuing an early renewal this year if it's something the district would consider, and that would be this year we pursue that. And we're happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I didn't see any data in the slides on socioeconomic disadvantaged students. I don't know if you have any info on that and kind of efforts to serve them. I know that first of all, congratulations on it being high performing. That's a smaller percentage statewide. That's a big accomplishment. When looking at your slides and your program, it seems very academic driven, and your counseling services your slide is like focusing on college, and I'm curious about other options your counselors are talking with your students and if that's advertised. Because I think some of those things can impact who actually even applies to your school. For like, hey, there's no way I'm going to college. This is too academic rigor for me. I'm not going to survive this. And that can impact, the students that are actually enrolling in your school. So I'm just curious kind of what you're doing to address those student populations and recruit those. And then definitely for renewal, I'm going to want to see what you're doing for to reach our students that are reflective of the district, because focusing on a demographic that's already a high percentage and not necessarily reflective of the district isn't really getting there for me. So that's something that's down the road, with renewal, but initially I'd love to hear what you're doing for the socioeconomic students.
I have it pulled up. Their
Okay.
socioeconomic is 39.3% from their last SARC.
Yeah, forgive me, I peeked at the CAS scores, and so I know I saw it somewhere, so I might have been thinking that, I saw the data, and so I assumed it was in your presentation. So I have a question that's maybe a little slightly off target, but I'm curious. With 8084, I'm wondering, and not to go down a big rabbit hole, I'm just wondering, do you have maybe top 3 concerns and how that might impact your school, and just if it passes or is signed into law? I'm just curious how you're.
That's a good question. I know 8084 initially is targeting really the online charter school. However, it will have huge impact on all charter schools. Not so much operationally. There are some things that would affect us operationally, but really in the structure of it adds. The Inspector General, it adds basically two additional supervisory branches that, just given a call, they could come in and investigate. I know we already participate in audits. We participate in whether it's UCP or the CDE or OCR, whatever. There's all of these. This basically adds 2 additional sources and not even, they haven't published yet what the threshold would be on whether they consider this legitimate, investigation. Anytime there's an investigation, it takes a lot of our resources as administrators and time and requests. So that's one element. Some of the other elements of 8084, we would have to look at really the school structure and for instance, right now, librarians, we can hire a librarian without a library credential in a charter school. 8084 would require credentials for all positions, and whereas we currently have credentials for teachers and counselors, et cetera, but this would completely change the full staffing structure. All in all, a lot of it's just more red tape, more bureaucracy, potential to just create a larger impact on our time. That's the
I appreciate
thing.
that.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of commentary, but I was wondering, just from a pure trying to administrate, how will it affect you and what your concerns are. So I appreciate, and I realize a lot of
Yeah.
that.
As I look at it, I mean, I know there was fraud down south. And I see, you know, the two bills they've made for SB, you know, 4 and 4, and I can see having added more stringent auditing as a good way to help vet charter schools. I do think 884 has done that, and they've gone way overboard in their attempt to, you know,
Well, thanks for your,
research.
thank you.
I was gonna ask the same exact question. All right, well, thank you, you guys. I have a couple questions. I wanted to know on your wait list of the 2,172 students, do you know how that's broken down? Like how many of that is wait list for high school or the 7 through 12 versus how much of that wait list is K through 6?
I actually do know. Not on the top of my head, but I can get that for you.
Okay.
In fact,
I was just
really
curious.
quick.
I'm always amazed by the wait list. Just something else, right? I remember when you guys came, all I know is that we were at Oakmont.
Yes, and I think you said 4,000.
It was thousands, you know, and maybe it was all the
That would have been all
campuses.
campuses.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we have the largest wait list in Roseville.
Okay.
And the smallest wait list in Eldorado Hills. We purchased a new facility there a couple of years ago, and we're still growing that, you know, every year a little bit. And what was that? Let's see if it's still up. I had it. Turn on a hotspot really quick. So we can, if you want to ask another question, I can come back to.
So I'm just curious, just out of curiosity, how many, what do you know offhand the percentage of graduating kids from 8th grade, or actually 8th grade, how many move on to your high school versus how many do you think come back to us?
No, that's a good question. So from our 6th grade to our 7th grade, so
Right.
they're leaving elementary to middle school, we have 30% of our scholars, they matriculate into the district schools at that time, and we keep the remaining 70%. From our 8th grade to our 9th grade, 40% matriculate to the district schools, and we keep 60%. And that's been pretty standard for the last 5 years. For that.
Oh, that's good.
I just had a question, and maybe it can be addressed through renewal. All charters have to be non-sectarian in their programs. You have assurance to that effect. When you handed out the 10 core values, one of your values is public and private virtue. And it takes a quote. It says, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It's wholly inadequate to the government of any other." And then scholars embrace these virtues and seek to incorporate them into the community through these virtues are cultivated in practice. So to me, that raised a little alarm that may be conflicting with that obligation to be non-sectarian, and I'm not expecting an answer today, but it is a concern to me that that's like right in one of your core values for your students, and that seemed to just conflict to me.
And I'd be happy to answer. As a classical school, we go back to the traditions of the classical literature, which, when we're looking at virtue specifically, we're looking at really the 4 primary virtues of justice, integrity, wisdom, courage. That's what we're looking at as our 4 primary virtues, and then bring true stuff like that. But I'd be happy to answer more. But that's where we go to. All right, I do have the wait list by grade level. So in our first, actually I'm going to go TK, is that all right? TK through 6th grade, we have 1753. And in our 7 through 12, we have 351.
Okay.
this number is probably about 3 weeks old. So
Okay.
gives you a good idea.
Okay, so thank you. I just wondered, how many of them were high schoolers specifically, so that's helpful to know as well. Okay, I have a not fun question. So I went over to the campus, this was weeks ago, to drop off an award for the John and Abigail Adams recipients, the opening letter. And I made the mistake of rolling in between like three. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna say. So obviously growth seems to have, kind of capped, and it was actually very organized and very safe. And, I felt like, okay, there's cones, I know where to go, I was able to get in. But do you feel like, there's any relief in sight for the traffic and or, drop off pickup situation, or just kind of is what it is?
One thing as we're coming up to this upcoming year, our times are a little bit different. We're experimenting with that to try and make a little bit more of a gap to let some people come through that normally wouldn't, especially parents of singles, so they don't have siblings, so they're able to get through. And then this times are a little bit more staggered as we're experimenting with that to try and improve that.
Okay.
We've also reached out to Roosevelt City. I'm trying to remember what the name of the program is, but it's where they walk to school, safe walk to school. So what is the name of that?
Safe routes to school.
Safe routes to school.
Safe walk to school. And so we've contacted some of the businesses near us and asked if they could be drop-off points, and then we're located right on the trail, and so that we could get bikers and walkers in, so we can reduce some of that traffic up Harding and Mud Hill. And so that we've got a whole team working on that, and we'll see what difference that makes. I know, Bill, you were asking earlier a question I wanted to address, and that was regarding not the demographic, but it was, you said, no, after that.
I don't know, one thing I was about your population that you're targeting.
Well, that's right, thank you. You were talking about college bound versus other exits and stuff. Our language at the campus, we're very intentional to talk about everyone has a gift. We encourage our scholars to find your talent, develop it, and share it. And whether that's through college or other career, we're very intentional to do our best to reach every single scholar in their talent. We do have graduation requirements that are tough, and so when we look at those 8th grade students going to 9th grade, and we survey them and do their exit interviews, the primary reason scholars leave is really comes our narrow focus at sports. They want a broader sports selection, or sometimes a program. Whether it's an academic program that is being offered in a community school that we just don't offer. But it's sports is first, program is second. We are focused on our program, but we in no way are super, you're going to college, you don't go to college, you're a failure. Not at all. We want to support all scholars in all areas.
And several scholars actually leave to go to high schools that have AP courses that we don't have, so they can have more college focus. So.
I've noticed that. Thanks for bringing that up. A couple years ago, and so correct me if I'm wrong, I do remember looking at your offerings, and I don't think you had AP classes. I'm curious the reasoning behind that.
A lot of it's pedagogical in terms of most AP classes rely on high stakes test at the end, and a lot of that class is preparing for that test. Our approach is just different. We want to look at underlying great works of whatever that field is, and we have a more Socratic approach of exploration, research, paper writing. So we just didn't want to be funneled through that. I will say 3 months ago, our board approved the option for schools to add electives. to their elective choices if the elective wasn't in competition with the core class. So if it's an elective option, we do have a couple schools that will be adding AP courses, but it can't take the place of our chemistry course or our English course. So.
Yeah, just from, I mean, also say from a parent's perspective, so I have some friends that have their kids at John Adams, and they say nothing but great things. And yet, so it's interesting, Bill's observations, maybe it's too academic. And my first thought, well, okay, I have kids that went through all the APs, and my first thought would be, well, maybe you're not academic enough. And I'm not saying you are not, but so, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
In our master plan, we would like to see more concurrent enrollment. That's where we want to go for scholars that are on that track.
Ultimately, families get to choose if they want to go that route or not. And it seems you have lots of friends whose students, scholars, attend there, and they love it, and they hear great things all the time, other than traffic.
Well, and being able to reason is huge, right, in everything. And so, regardless of whether you're at college or not, to be able to go out in the world and make decisions based on facts and reasoning is going to be a great quality you're going to have regardless of college.
All right, well, thank you. I don't know then, so you're wanting to pursue early renewal. Is that something you?
Yeah, so they'll be working through Lisa and Dr. Karos to calendar that for the school year. Since both of our charter organizations would have been on the same year, it's actually kind of a better way to, they're ready to go a year earlier, why not? So it just kind of, they're ready to go. But Lisa and Dr. Karos will be working on that with the John Adams team to bring that this school year.
We want to thank Lisa Bosch. She's like the perfect liaison for us, and she's always there. She calls, she comes out, she's friendly. She gives us information when we need it, and we just kudos to Lisa. So I want to thank you for that.
Very good. Thank you. Yes, we love Lisa too. All right. Thank you, you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Lastly, for section 8, any staff comments? 8.2. Okay, so item 9, our horizon report, pending agenda items. Anything? Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, well, we'll see you all back.